In this session of International Business, the topic focused is Introduction to Globalization, Meaning and Definition of Globalization. Globalization is a more advanced form of internationalization of business that implies the degree of functional integration between internationally depressed economic activities. We often hear the word globalization in many contexts and repeat it frequently as a concept to denote more trade, foreign companies, and even the ongoing economic crisis. Before we launch it into a full fledged review of the term and its various manifestations, it is important to consider what exactly we mean when we say globalization. It denotes the increased freedom and capacity of individuals and firms to undertake economic transaction with residents of other country. Globalization is the process of international integration arising from the interchange of world views, products, ideas, and other aspects of culture. It refers to the process that promote worldwide exchanges of national and cultural resources. Advancement in transportation and telecommunication infrastructure, including the rise of the internet, has further catalyzed globalization of economic activities. Globalization is the free movement of goods, services, and people across the world in a seamless and integrated manner. It can be thought of to be the result of the opening up of the global economy and increase in trade between nations. In other words, when countries that were close to trade and foreign investment open up their economies and go global. The result is an increasing interconnections and integration of the economies of the world. This is the brief aspect and view to introduction. There is substantial evidence from countries of different sizes and different regions that as countries globalize, their citizens benefit in the form of access to a wider variety of goods and services, lower prices, more and better paying jobs, improved health, and higher overall living standard. There are several basic activities like investment, spread of technology, strong institution, macroeconomic policies, educated class of workforce, and existence of a market economy which leads to a greater prosperity. Let's take an example of a global company, Nike. The world's largest maker of athletic shoes does not make any clothes or shoes itself. It contracts out production to South Korean and Taiwanese companies. These companies operate not only in their home countries but also in lower wage economies such as Philippines and Vietnam. Let's understand the meaning of the term globalization. Globalization means that countries of the world subscribe to the rules and procedures of the WTO or the World Trade Organization that oversees the terms and conditions of trade between countries. There are other world bodies like the UN and several arbitration bodies where countries agree in principle to observe the policies of free trade and non-discriminatory trade policies when they open up their economies. Therefore, globalization refers to the increasing integration of economies around the world, particularly through the movement of goods, services, and capital across borders. The term sometimes also refers to the movement of people, that is, labor and knowledge, which includes technology across international borders. The term globalization began to be used more commonly in the 1980s, reflecting technological advances that made it easier and quicker to complete international transactions, both trade and financial flows. Let's discuss the most popular definition of globalization. It refers to an extension of the same market forces that have operated for centuries at all levels of human activity, village markets, urban industries, or financial centers beyond national borders or boundaries. According to Baylis and Smith, globalization is the process whereby social relations acquire relatively distance-less and borderless qualities. This is the definition given by Baylis and Smith. The next definition of globalization. Globalization is both an active process of corporate expansion across borders and a structure of cross-border facilities and economic linkage that has been steadily growing and changing. This definition is given by Edward Hess Herman. Globalization, hence, is the process by which markets and productions in different countries are becoming increasingly interdependent due to dynamics of trade in goods and services and flows of capital and technology. However, the economic interpretation of European Commission is contested by several authors who argues that the nature of the internationalized world economy would be a non-timely, nationally embedded capital. Hence, globalization has paved way for international trade across boundaries. New world economic system has emerged. Hence, globalization has brought several opportunities for those countries which were earlier a closed economy. There is yet another perspective of globalization which does not put emphasis mainly on economic system of capitalism, where the focus is on the environment and business transactions. Hence, in this session, we have discussed the introductory aspect of globalization, meaning and definition of globalization.